Good evening, Pittsburgh sports fans, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Joining me is my co-host Edward. We got Tracy coming in. He's going to be a little late. Spring choral concert, so fun stuff there. So he'll be joining us momentarily. But Ed, lot to talk about. We didn't cover last week. We were a little bit under the weather here, so better this week. A little bit better this week, I think. Right?
Oh, most definitely.
So yeah. So, but lots to talk about. A lot has gone on in the week that we missed, as always in Pittsburgh sports. But lots to talk about. We're get into this Aaron Rodgers saga. The saga continues. It's just I don't know, when is this going to end here. God only knows. I mean, this is it's got to end sometime. I was hoping it was going to end last night at the Pat McAfee event. I was hoping he was going to, announce it towards the end, but that didn't happen. It's got to happen before the draft, right?
I just can't believe they've allowed themselves to be sucked into this. It's just as bad as picking the wrong quarterback, like picking Pickett, because it's just going to set you back. I would think they would have to ask him to do it by then, wouldn't you?
I would think. We'll get into Steelers hosting Shedeur Sanders. They invited him to the facility a few days ago, so last Thursday to be exact. So, I mean, Todd, what do you think? Number 20 at number 21, would you do that? If Rodgers decides to hang it up, which I think could be a very that could definitely happen. So,
I think it'll come down to who do you like better, him or Dart, and I might like Jackson better. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
we'll get into it.
Yeah. And then we'll get into the Penguins as they're closing out. Got 3 games left. You've got New Jersey tomorrow night, and then you've got you're hosting the Bruins on Sunday, and then close everything out with your Washington Capitals on Thursday next week, and that's it.
Yep.
So I want to talk too about. I want to get into a little bit about this Ovechkin thing. I got a theory on this whole thing. I think the timing was bad, but we'll get into that.
Yep.
So Pirates, there's a lot to talk about with the Pirates tonight. A lot of things happening. A lot of people, up in arms with the Pirates organization. I don't know. You if you're an owner, you should try to avoid pissing off the fan base. But I don't know. That seems like it seems like he kind of, I don't know, like he kind of gets off on.
I guess so. How do you let that happen? What they did,
Yeah. So we'll get into that. Pitt loses another player. Jalen Lowe enters the transfer portal. I believe he went to Kentucky, right?
Yep.
So, well, you should know. You got a vested interest in Kentucky, that's for sure. So
yes, I do.
But talk some NFL news. I mean, there's a little bit of NFL news as well with things going on. I know spring football for Pitt. They're having another practice. I believe it's this weekend. The blue and gold game's coming up too. Is that's wait,
1 o'clock Saturday.
Okay, that's right. The blue and gold game is Saturday. Yep. So
yeah.
So we'll get into that. Cade Bell's going to have his work cut out for him. He looks like he's going to have 4 quarterbacks, to work with there. Yeah, at least. So, but and then I wanted to talk about the passing of Ray Shero. 62 years old. Wow. And then we had another guy, Ray Seals, died. Former Steelers defensive lineman, 59 years old.
Too young. Way too young.
Yeah, way too young. So, and then we'll close out everything with the Riverhounds as they face Charleston Battery, a big test for them this weekend. We'll be covering that. Look for a write-up by me and Ed on that one. We won't be down there, unfortunately, because it's in Charleston. But
we'd love to go. But
we'd love to go. Yeah. So, but all right, let's get into it. Ed, like I said, we're going to have Trace momentarily, but you and I can hash it out here. until he jumps on here, and then all three of us can hash it out. But let's get into this Aaron Rodgers saga. I've been saying it for weeks. It's got to end. I want it to end. If you're a true Pittsburgh sports fan, which I know you're not, you want it to end. I mean, you just want this whole thing to just, you want it with either he comes or he doesn't come, and you move on. But at this point in time, I tell you what, if he ends up retiring or doesn't sign, you are totally screwed. This quarterback situation is totally screwed. You're going to have to definitely draft a quarterback without a doubt.
But what do you think, Billy? So,
and also I want to really get into this big night out. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, I worked down at the arena, so I was there last night, got to witness everything firsthand. There's a lot to talk about on the big night out, so we'll get into that after our Steeler talk. But yeah, I mean, from the outside looking in, what are you seeing, Ed?
Well,
I think he's going to retire. I really do.
I really do. I think he's going
to retire. I think he's he may have not had a good workout with DK Metcalf. He may have not, been impressed with the facilities. I could see him not, I could see that happen, and him not being impressed with the facilities. They get pretty low ratings from the players. So
if I'm the Steelers, I can't believe that I've allowed myself to be in this position. But if I am in this position and I have a leaning toward him retiring, then that changes the whole draft, because then you're building for the future. So that 21st pick, maybe that's not quarterback, maybe it's a lineman, offensive lineman, or maybe it's a top flight wide receiver, that now you can add to your wide receiver room. But that all depends on him. I just can't believe they've allowed themselves to get to this point where they're waiting on a 41-year-old quarterback, and he has no incentive to sign before the draft. Right. And if I were him, I don't think great show, fellas. Fire Tomlin. Fritzy, man, he is so consistent. Mr. Consistency. But I mean, I would not count on a
setting sun.
Yeah. I wouldn't count on a 41-year-old. I just wouldn't. I don't think he's reliable in the way he used to be. And what if it takes him too long to learn the offense,
Well, and I think the Steelers need him more than he needs the Steelers at this particular point in time in his career. And hey, you know what? You're going to have if you sign him, you signed DK Metcalf. You're paying TJ Watt a ton of money. You've got 5 guys here that are Minkah Fitzpatrick. You've got 5 guys here that are $150 million deals. You're not going to be able to pay all these guys. It's just not going to happen. Also, too, I want to get into the cryptic message by TJ Watt. A lot of people say there's something to that. So,
what do you make of? Do you think it changes their outlook for the draft if they don't have Rodgers?
Well, I mean, he has to. I can't see how they wouldn't have told him, "Hey, we need pen to paper by the draft. We need it. Either pen to paper or no deal by the draft." Because as it is, you're really handcuffing yourself with this whole thing, and they're already in a bad situation. They're already in a really bad situation. If he ends up, not signing, they're even in a worse situation. You know what? Maybe you just and I've said this before. We've talked about this before. Maybe you're just happy with Mason Rudolph, and you know what? It wouldn't be a bad thing to go 5-12. It really wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't be the worst thing. It's just the fact that I don't know. Let's look at the mock for 26, just out of curiosity. But I think they're really just putting him in. He's putting them in just a bad position.
Well, if you would have asked me a week ago, I thought that this deal was imminent. I really did. And, just looking at the optics of everything, he came here, he toured the facility, he met with the Rooneys, he talked with Coach Tomlin, he talked with all the coaches. Then, a few days later, he's down working out with DK Metcalf. So everything kind of pointed to, to this happening, it just being, imminent signing, Now I'm not so sure. I mean, I really thought the big night out last night that he would be, I I really thought that this was going to happen. I really thought that, it would have made for good TV. I tell you what, it would have made for good TV. If everything that you had there last night, to close that out with, here is your new quarterback,
Right.
it would have really
Would have been electric.
it would have been electric. It would have sent shockwaves through the sports world. It really would have. And I really felt, and we'll get into it, obviously I was there last night, um, you know, working the event, but, there was a lot of hints when the event opened up, in McAfee's opening monologue. There was a lot of hints that he threw in there. Is Rodgers here? Well, he said they said he wasn't. What did they say? They said he wasn't here when, and he was here. So he's like, I don't know. We'll see. It didn't happen. But I don't know. At this point in time, I don't know. It's up in the air. I think you flip a coin. I think at this, if you would have, like I said, if you had asked me a week ago, I'd have said like 60-40. But I don't know. It's starting to. I'm starting to think that this may not happen. He may just retire. So
You're right. I mean, you're right. He could just.
we talk about this Achilles thing. That second year's. When the healing is done, and when you've kind of fully bounced back from it. Yeah, that's true. If you're a 32-year-old quarterback, he's 41, going to be 42. I don't know. At this point in time, I don't know.
And that's the thing, is that it's they had to have gotten something from him, some sort of informal handshake or some sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that they're definitely going to take him, because otherwise it's just they look terrible.
Well, they look terrible, and if he ends up retiring, they're going to look. It's going to be bad. I mean, the backlash that's going to happen from this, it's going to be bad. I mean, it's not gonna be a good look for the Steelers at all.
No.
It's not going to be. And for all intents and purposes, he may have already signed.
Right. We don't know the interim.
We don't know. I think if that's the case, if he already signed, I can't see why they wouldn't have done that last night. But who knows?
Or I couldn't have seen how it hasn't leaked.
Right. Exactly. That's another thing too. So maybe it hasn't happened yet, and that's kind of why I'm kind of on the fence with it, and really believing that this might be a 50-50 scenario here that we got. So
it could be. You could be right.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I can't believe that they allowed themselves to get into this position.
Well, I can. I mean, this is.
Well, Chris Tomlin's in charge. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. I mean, this has been. This. I'm not really surprised by this whole thing.
Yeah.
They've really botched this big time, and it looks bad now, and it could even look worse here when it's all said and done. So, but Shedeur Sanders, could he go to the Steelers at 21 if Aaron Rodgers does not sign? Very big possibility. Mel Kiper saying that could be a possibility at them taking him at that 21 spot. He was in with Deion Sanders last Thursday. He was a guest of the Steelers and toured UPMC Rooney Sports Complex Thursday with Dad, and I don't know. What do you think?
I don't. It comes down to, who do you think is better? Do you think he's better than Jackson Dart, or Jackson Dart's better than him? Jackson Dart went from USC, Pac-12 to the then Pac-12 to the SEC and had really good success. Shedeur went from Jackson State to Colorado and had an okay career. I mean, there's nothing flashy.
Right.
And to your point, which you've made several times, he obviously can take a hit, right? But is that what you want to base?
He got his ass. He got his ass kicked last year. Yeah.
But is that what you want to base your, main pick on? Is that the kid was, he's tough enough to take a hit?
He can take a hit. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to do that, but I just think that they're in a horrible situation right now.
They are. I mean, if you asked me who do I think they should take, I would go with Dart, hands down. He
I'm
has
thinking
more
I would too,
intangibles.
Billy.
He has
Yeah.
more intangibles than what Shedeur Sanders has, in my opinion. Um, who
I'm
knows?
with you,
Who
man.
knows what they're looking at?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm going with. I think I would go with. I think I'd go with Jackson. I really
Yeah.
do. I think he's the better. He's the better. He has the better upside. I think that Shador is going to be an average quarterback. He'll play for 10 years, but he's not going to set the world on fire. He doesn't have the live arm. He doesn't have the tremendous amount of knowledge, as far as breaking down the play at the line. And quite frankly, in the big games, he did not. I mean, they didn't perform well.
Yeah.
Lost the bowl game to BYU, got crushed by Nebraska. I don't think that they have the big time. He's got the pedigree, which everybody loves in the NFL, but I don't know. And if I'm the
Yeah.
Steelers, I don't know if I do that. I think I would go line, and then I'd pick up. I really like Riley Leonard, Billy.
Well, I think D line. I
Yeah.
think I know they're looking at this possible, looking at that SMU guy Elijah Roberts.
Yeah.
I know he just recently toured the Steelers facility as well. I like that cornerback Trey Amos. He's another one that I like from Old Miss.
Yeah. I think
So
they'll go if they went D line. They're going to go with the Oregon kid if he's still there,
yeah.
or Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan, I think, is the better prospect from from Old Miss. I think he's a stud.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that he has so much control over the organization, and it's truly because, like we talked to Phillips at the press conference, they're trying to secure their dad's legacy of the Rooney Rule, and I think that's accurate. If they had hired Tomlin right as the Rooney Rule took effect, and then fired him the next day, he's been here for 18 years.
Yeah, they hired him before that.
Well, they were one of the first people to start hiring, but I think
Right.
it's just over. It has nothing to do
Right.
with pigmentation of a human being's skin. It's just over. They just need a new voice, and Tomlin knows he can do whatever he wants, and I think he's proven.
Well, he has full autonomy. Yeah.
And I think he's proven, just like Bill Belichick did, he doesn't know personnel at all.
Right. Yeah.
That's what killed Belichick. They have not hit on draft picks consistently in a while, right? They just keep fading away, and all you have to do is
well, I mean, even Kevin Colbert's the last few
Yeah.
years, they didn't hit on draft picks.
But
I agree.
Look at their fifth-year option this year. It's Kenny Pickett. He's not even on. He's on his third team. Right. So it just shows they're not hitting consistently on these number ones. You don't know what you have in Broderick Jones. I cannot believe an elite athlete can't go from one side to the other. That's nonsense to me. That's utter nonsense. I think he's going to be a bust.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that because I've seen other players do it. So that just means that he's not.
It's not unheard of. It's not unheard of.
No.
I mean, we just got done talking at our football show about this. Guy from Oregon, that center from Oregon, or I'm not from Oregon, from North Dakota State, that can play all five positions.
Right.
So I'm with you on that. I think he's going to be a bust for sure.
Well, that's the only conclusion because he can't play at the position he played.
No.
And all of a sudden you're going to put him on the left side, which is the blind side of your quarterback. That all of a sudden magically his footwork's going to come back, and he's going. I think it's poppycock, as they say, the old word poppycock. I think it's nonsense. I think that they really truly need to take the power away. You have to.
Yeah.
And your point has been accurate more often than it's not been accurate. That when Dan Rooney died, the organization died with him, as far as the elite ability to scout and the ability to fire people, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, Dan would have not have put up with this. It would have been, he would have moved on by now, and he would have seen that the job's not getting done. I'm sorry, the standard is mediocrity at this point in time.
Absolutely.
It is. That's exactly what it is. You want to talk about what the standard is? It's being mediocre year after year after year, and not winning a playoff game in the last 8 years is testament to that. So
it truly is. I mean, they're just the laughing stock. They're becoming the laughing stock of the NFL.
Yeah.
It's and this is what they've created. This is what happens when you give power too much power to somebody. This is what it ends up being.
Yeah. Well, let's look at this. Let's get back to this Rodgers thing. So let's look at it from his view. What benefit would it be to finish? Ultimately, I think he's probably if he's going to sign, it's going to be a 1-year deal. Is this it for him? I mean, is this
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to ask, but what would be why would he sign here?
That's my point. What if you're looking at the pros and cons? If you're Aaron Rodgers and you're looking at the pros, what's some of the pros that you're looking at? Name one. Can you come up with anything off the top of your head? I mean, I can't. I mean, other than
Facilities are quite subpar.
right.
Not his kind of city. I mean, and actually, the city is absolutely dead at night. Literally, figuratively, absolutely dead at night. Very small city. I don't know. I honestly don't know. They're not in a position to win. They're not a quarterback away. Everything to me points to Minnesota with him. Everything does. Because I think that he's holding out for Minnesota just in case something happens. Say they go to OTAs and are like, oh, Jesus, we didn't realize he had this kind of a hitch in his giddy up, or something, prompting him to call Aaron and say, look, dude, how fast can you get here? Because that team is loaded and ready to go.
Well, yeah, and they're loaded and ready to go, and they're going with McCarthy, and they're so quick to say he's the guy, and
Isn't that weird?
It's very weird, and I just don't. I don't know.
I'm not buying it either, but I'm with you. I
Yeah.
can't think of any reason other than the fact that maybe they told him he'd be the unconditional starter. Maybe that's it. What if they get a 6th-round pick, say a Riley Leonard, or the kid from up, Howard from Ohio State, or the kid from Syracuse? What if they get one of those guys in the 6th, 7th round and they're better? Now what do you do?
Right.
Now you're on the hook for $35-40 million for one dude. I just don't think I don't think it's smart for them to do it. I think his only play really is Minnesota. I really do. I mean, because unless he goes somewhere where he's willing to be a backup, can he check his ego at the door and be a backup? And I don't think
No,
he can.
absolutely not. That's not going to happen.
But I mean, at this stage in your career, you have to have some sort of sense of who you are in self-scouting. If you can't garner the attention of the top teams as a starter, then go somewhere where it's your best chance to win another ring because you won another ring. Maybe you come in, a la Drew Bledsoe, who beat the Steelers in the last half of the game, and Brady went and won the Super Bowl. Maybe something like that, but you get a ring, right? It just depends on what they want. But I'm with you. I don't have any reason why he would come here other than the fact that they'd say you're the unconditional starter. You don't have to duel it out or battle with anybody.
Okay. Flip side. Let's go to cons. One right off the top of the bat for me is lack of offensive line depth, lack of a cohesive offensive line.
Not a lot of talent.
Not a lot of talent. Lack of weapons. I'm sorry, George Pickens and DK Metcalf, I don't think would cut it for me.
I mean, him and Pickens would just be oil and water because Pickens does not do the right thing insofar as following the play out. The success to football is to believe that every single wide receiver, every eligible receiver that goes out is going to get the ball. That's the key to success. Because if everybody thinks they're going to get the ball and they act like they're going to get the ball, it's tough to defend, right? And Pickens just doesn't do that. He doesn't block. He's lazy. He doesn't get the ball. He's in his contract year. He's probably going to hold in.
You have DK Metcalf now, and Pickens is not happy. He knows he's going to get his touches are
going to go down.
His touches are going to go down. He's not going to get the balls. And in a contract year, you as a receiver, you don't like that. You want to be able to showcase your talent as much as you can.
Yeah. Tracy's logging in.
I think another thing is you have a coach that is in control of everything. And and that's oil and water as well, to use your analogy.
Yep.
And just because they may say, hey, you're going to have full autonomy here, Aaron, you're good. You don't have to take your marching orders from anybody. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that.
And also, he's going to use Arthur Smith as a suggestion box. This is what you're suggesting. I'm going to change all the plays at the line.
Right.
And then how's that going to be? Because he's not going to go to Arthur Smith after.
They didn't allow Russ to do that. So,
well, who's he going to go to when he comes off the field? He's not going to go to Arthur. He's going to go to Tomlin and be like, hey, dude, tell that idiot this is what I want.
Yeah.
I just don't see any positives, and the cons are way too high. You're right, Billy.
And I think that's if you're Aaron Rodgers. I mean, call him what you are. He's a, I think he's an intelligent guy, and I think.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He is, but the fact of the matter is,
an amazing quarterback, and an amazing quarterback. And I don't think when you look at this, when you the eye test for me is just, if you're him, you're just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I don't know that this is where I should be.
Right, so, and then the doubt creeps in, and it just looks like a disaster.
And if you're from a fan standpoint, I don't know that you do you really want a 41-year-old? Is that something you really want? A guy that's on the tail end of his career, that has had a major injury in the last few years with this Achilles, and Father Time is undefeated. I mean, like I said, if you even, I don't care. He does take care of himself. But I don't care if you're, a very healthy, abnormally, being able to heal faster. You're still 41 years old.
Yeah. Or if you chug beers after the game and eat Cheetos and Subway before the game in hockey, right?
Yeah.
I mean, two different kind of athletes.
Right.
It's interesting. I think Steeler fans are like you. They're just fed up.
Well, yeah. I mean, you just
because the way he's acting as if, maybe, I don't know. If you're still there after I go through all the other girls, I'll take you to the prom.
Yeah, right. It's like I said, it comes down to they need him worse than he needs them. Is what it comes down to. And
you're right.
Yeah. So
and he knows that. How do they not know that, Billy? How does Omar Khan know? The fact of the matter that so much power is nestled with one person is something that's going to be this is going to end ugly. It's going to be an ugly divorce, because they're going to have to outright once they get somebody who understands football, they're going to have to outright fire him.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. That's how empires fall, right? I mean, you have too much power in one, and that's that's how. So,
it's bad, and it's going to end ugly. I think Trey said he was logging in. Did you log in?
He did not. Not yet. So, and there he is.
There he is, just like that, ladies and gentlemen.
There's Tracy.
Hey, que pasta.
Que pasta. How was the pipes? Are the pipes good?
It was good, man. I had a good time. It's always fun to watch one of them kiddo shows,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, Trace, we just were talking to Aaron Rodgers. We talked a little Shedeur Sanders. Touring the facility on Thursday with Dion. We were kind of wrapping it up with the Aaron Rodgers thing. I was telling Ed, I said, if you asked me a week ago, I said it was about a 60-40. And I said, when he toured the facility and then shortly thereafter working out with DK Metcalf, you're thinking, oh man, this is imminent. This is going to happen. Really thought it was going to happen last night at the big night and it would have made for great TV. It would have sent shockwaves through the sports world, but it didn't happen. And that they said now they're expected the decision to be made before the draft. And I said, you know what, this is going to be a bad look for the Steelers. If he ends up not signing here, because you're already in a bad situation and it's going to be worse. So,
any thoughts, sir? I completely concur.
I think that's he completely concurs.
Whatever he said over there,
touche.
That guy just said was a lie.
I think that's a touche. Touche, gentlemen.
So, Billy, I think that they botched the quarterback position. I think they've improved just about everywhere else this offseason. I am not mad about Mason Rudolph still. I wish they would either sign and finalize with him or just move on. And if Shador is the answer, great, let's go. Whatever, man. I'll do a young quarterback with Mason Rudolph there. Maybe he'll do something different than Ben did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anything's better than what we had because both of them didn't really want to be here. So let's see where we're at now.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, decisions got to be made. What do you think, Trace? Shador Sanders at number 21 if Rodgers doesn't sign?
That's a world-class athlete.
Well, I still say Jackson Dart would be your better quarterback, if you ask me.
I think he'd be a better quarterback, but what I don't know, what I didn't see Shador do was lead. I don't know if he's an actual leader or is he just flashy? Like that quarterback position needs to have somebody who's going to take control of the other 10 men with him, get him in sync, and get the ball moving up and down that field. And if Shador can't do it, then I think that no, but I'm not sure. I don't know. He has to be the whole package.
Right. We can take a hit, like me and Ed said. He can take a hit. He's like the Energizer Bunny. Takes a licking, keeps on ticking.
I'm not sure that makes for a great quarterback, though.
Right.
No.
Well, we saw our quarterback last year take a bunch of great hits and keep ticking, right? Let's find a quarterback that doesn't need to take the hit and maybe gets the ball down the field so we can start hitting the ball off the ground for a touchdown and spiking it. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I didn't see a lot of very few pro throws I saw out of Shador.
Yeah. Right.
And the fact he
and he's a little weak. He's a little weak on reading defenses. Let's be clear. The competition last year for Colorado, especially in their opening few games, was not stellar.
Nope, not at all. I mean, he went from Jackson State, didn't shine. And he went to Colorado, didn't shine. We look at Jackson Dart, lit it up at USC, Pac-12, went to the best conference in America, SEC, and lit it up. I just think I just think he has better upside. Shador will probably play for a while, but I don't think I think he's an average quarterback. I think he's probably top 18. That's it.
Yeah.
I like Eddie's synopsis there. I really do think that Dart has the better percentage. If you're rolling the dice on any of these guys, he's the one to roll on.
But we also talked about Trace. Say they don't get Rodgers, that changes the first round pick. What do you do?
I'd go after Grant, and I would look at the second or third round that we have, and get after either a Milrow or whatever else might be out there.
You don't have a second. You go after that. You go to pick 93.
We don't have a second yet, but if I'm not mistaken, we have a wide receiver and maybe a outside linebacker that want traded. I wouldn't be scared to do that for a second round.
You're not going to get a second round for Pickens at all. You get a 4 or 5. You might get a second for Watt. If I'm Cleveland, I offer the 33rd overall pick, which is number 1 in the second round.
We didn't touch on that yet. What do you think about T.J. Watt's cryptic message there? Do you think he's trying to send a message, or do you think it was just kind of a coincidence?
And Trace, and does he hold in again? Which caused him that soft tissue injury the last time he did it.
Geez, that's a loaded question. I think that the cryptic message is he wants to sign a deal now because he's not signed. I think it was an unsecuredness after the season is what I think it is. I'm not sure he wants to move on or anything.
Well, like I said, Trace, I was telling you. No, they can't afford. If you sign Rodgers and you sign Metcalf, Minka Fitzpatrick, Watt, Cam Hayward, that's $150 million you got on 5 guys.
Way more
invested in 5
way
guys.
More than
I mean,
that.
you just
it's $75 million too. It's way more than that.
Yeah. So that's they can't afford this. They can't afford this. And you know what? Personally, TJ Watt's not going to win anything here. I hate to say that. He's really not. I mean, the way I see this franchise and the road that I see this organization going down, he's not gonna. I want to see this guy win. I like the guy. I'm a fan of the guy. I really am. And if it's winning somewhere else, I think we owe it to him. I really do.
Not disagreeing there too, Billy, but he only controls one side of the one side of the ball, whereas the other side of the ball needs to get it done for him in order to actually win, because he's done some things that have changed games, but the consistency hasn't been there, and most of that is through injury.
Right. Well, yeah. And when he's come back from injury, it's taken him a while to kind of get himself where he was.
It's also hard to get around the fact that last year in 10 games he had no stats, not no sacks, no statistics.
Well, that's kind of my point.
Games.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of my point.
That.
Yeah, right.
And write a check for $41 million because he has to make more than the other guy.
So Eddie, in those games that he had no stats, did we win all 10 of those or no?
You're 10-7. There's probably a shot you won some of them.
Well, I mean, if they're going to shut out one player and make sure one player gets nothing done, the rest of the team should do something. There are 10 other people on that side of the ball.
But to your point, when the offense held up their part of the bargain, the defense didn't. When the defense held up their part of the bargain, I mean, it was just
exactly. It's a seesaw that's like this or like that.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm the Steelers, I say, hey, we're not going to get Rodgers. I take that first pick. I get Harmon from Oregon. I try to get Pickens off the team somehow. I take a fourth or fifth round for him, and then maybe in the second round, I can package up some of those 4s and 5s and go get into the second round and get one of those quarterbacks. Or I take Riley Leonard, or the kid from McCord from Texas, or I take the other guy from Ohio State, and I roll with one of them.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I like the idea of getting the defensive nose guard, and I like getting a lower round quarterback with Mason Rudolph overseeing the room. I think it's his job to lose right now.
But the idea is that, say if you get Rodgers, right, then that first pick becomes a wide receiver. You go get Emeka Ibuka or Luther Burden, who's ever there. You just flat out cut Pickens because you don't have that much involved. You just cut him, get rid of him. He's a cancer. And then here's the problem, though. You get Rodgers. Say you get one of those quarterbacks. One of those late round quarterbacks. What if they're better than Rodgers? What if Riley Leonard?
Right. What if Rodgers gets hurt again on like play 3?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're, and the fact of the matter that they've allowed themselves to get to this point, it's not shocking because they have all the powers in one person, and that doesn't succeed. That's what killed Bill Belichick. He can't draft. He doesn't know personnel. Tomlin doesn't know personnel. Heck, he barely knows defense.
Right.
Let him go play with all his all his sayings in the corner and get a pro in here who understands football. All
right. Unfortunately, we got to move on here. Former Steelers defensive lineman Ray Seal died. 59 years old. No cause of death revealed. Fun fact about him. I believe he was one of the rare guys in the NFL who never played a down of football. I don't think he went to college. I never played a down of college football, I should say. I confused you with that one, didn't I?
You did, because I'm like, he never played football for the Steelers.
Well, I knew it wasn't true.
Never played a down of college football is what I meant to say. I'm sorry, boy. I'm batting 1,000 here tonight.
I was gonna say, he was ginormous too. I remember because I saw him when he was still in his playing days.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pans out.
I mean, was that true? I think that was true. He never played a down of college football. I don't
know.
He Ed, you're
looking at
you're
it right
a
now.
resident fact checker here.
It
Fact
appears
check
as if
me
he
on
played
that.
for.
Like that guy says on the commercial. Fact them.
Fact them.
Me.
He played.
I don't think
he played semi-pro ball.
Yeah, he didn't play college football.
He did not.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the only one that never played any football before they came was the guard. He was a wrestler.
Yes, seriously. I guess some of that useless knowledge does come to help you once in a while, huh?
Every once in a while, buddy.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn once in a while, right?
And his nuts.
All right. Let's talk NFL real quick. Dolphins wideout Tyreek Hill, wife involved in domestic dispute. I guess no charges were filed, but she's filed for divorce. So there you have it.
There you have it. They were pictured on a balcony getting into a row.
Justin Fields was interviewed by the Jets media and said his confidence has never wavered. He's always has confidence in himself. He said even though the Steelers benching didn't change his perspective on everything. So I wish him the best in New York. I wish him the best in New York, but I don't know. I don't know about him. I really don't. He still has some stuff to prove for me. So, Julio Jones officially retires from the NFL.
Borderline Hall of Famer. What do you think?
Yeah.
66 touchdowns. I'd say borderline.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting one.
Case Keenum agrees to a 1-year deal with the Bears. $3 million deal. AP source says. So
Tell you what, man, that guy, he knows what he's doing. He is one smart cookie.
Yeah. I remember when I was in St. Louis. He was the last year that the Rams were there. He was their quarterback.
Yeah.
So, but Geno Smith agrees to a 2-year deal, $75 million extension with the Raiders. I'm not sold on Geno Smith.
Championship.
Just not sold on.
Yeah, I think that his coach believes in him, man.
Well, his coach believed in him before too, and
got him to the playoffs that last year under Pete Carroll.
Yeah, so
I do think that young man's a leader.
I don't know.
So I'm sure why he's not getting it done enough.
He doesn't have a lot. He's going to have a great tight end. But he's not going to have a lot of other weapons.
Right. So, all right. Let's talk about it. The big night out last night. Like I said earlier in the show, those of you who don't know, I worked down at the arena, so I was there, saw it firsthand. Was actually down on the floor for some of it. Which was crazy, but as we said, no big reveal for Aaron Rodgers last night. Wouldn't that have been something if they would have done that? Like I said, it would have sent shockwaves through the sports world. A lot of people had mixed reviews about the last night. It was very interesting. Let's just put it that way. Very interesting what happened last night. If the true definition of a variety show, let's just put it that way. A lot going on. You had Jelly Roll that opened some things up. He did a rendition of Renegade. You had Snoop Dogg there, which I actually got to see. Wiz Khalifa, a couple country guys. Shane Gillis was there. Sumo wrestling, which, by the way, that went on way too long. That should have been cut. Like that's the reason why I didn't leave the arena last night till like 1:30 in the morning.
That's hilarious.
Because you were watching those guys.
It went way too long. I mean, number one, the show started later than what it normally did, or what it was normally scheduled to do, and we were like, "Yeah, we're going to be here all night." Like it's just So, but yeah, I mean, you had the Uso from WWE. One of the Usos was there. Of course, you had Sid. You had Ben Roethlisberger. You had Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Paul Skeens. And how about that? I mean, you know what? Sidney Crosby, I don't know. Get a roster spot for him. I mean, the hole was big, but hey, Skeens missed it twice. Sidney first throw threads the needle. Ben first throw threads the needle.
I wouldn't call that a needle.
Well,
I'm shocked that Skeens missed it. I watched Crosby. It was a nice toss.
But I missed it twice.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I can't either.
Crosby's look good.
But it happened.
It did, yeah.
Yeah. And how about the giveaways? A guy won $2 million last night.
Wow.
In one of the sections, seat number 3. 1-2, and he was a Phillies. He had a freaking Jalen Hurts jersey on, which he got booed like you would not believe.
Yeah, especially since he won.
Yeah.
Wearing a Jalen Hurts jersey in Pittsburgh.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, I'm a big Pat McAfee fan, and it was pretty cool what they did. So, but like I said, Pat McAfee, the start of that show, he was dropping hints that is Rodgers here? I don't know. He might be. There was hints of that. He kept the audience in
Was AJ Hawk with him?
in suspense. He was there. Yes, he was there. Yeah,
because he's boys with Rodgers.
Yeah, it was hard to I like. There was a lot of people there. Let's just put it there. There was a lot of people there. A lot of big name people. It was hard for me, obviously being an employee and working down there. It was hard for me to catch everybody that was there. But pretty interesting night. It was pretty interesting night, to say the least. But yeah. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, let's move on to the Penguins here. A couple games left. You've got you're at the New Jersey Devils tomorrow night. Home to the Bruins on Sunday, and then close everything out next Thursday with the Washington Capitals coming into town. This offseason, I think we're going to see some big changes in the Penguins.
Really?
I do. I kind of do. I kind of feel like there could be some big changes happening.
You're not talking about Jari's mask is going to get painted a different color or something, right?
I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Kyle Dubas is are they going to overhaul this thing in the offseason? Are they not? What are they going to do?
Not?
Well, that's why I say what I say. How could you not? But I mean, stranger things have happened. How
if they come out with that same team, I just can't imagine anybody's going to go to the games. Well, truly, I can't. I mean, you look at the cap right now. Carlson's got that monstrous albatross around the Penguins' neck at $10 million.
Yeah, and by the way, like this guy is terrible. Like that has to be the worst deal that I've seen in a very, very long time. I mean, you want to talk about just
I don't know. Bobby Bonilla's deal was probably way worse, but I'm not disagreeing with you. It's a bad one.
It's just it has not been good.
So I mean, who picks up that one? He's old. He's 34. What do you do with Jari? Who's going to pick up that one? Because they don't want Jari. They might have to eat that. I mean, it's signing after bad signing after bad.
Well, I do think that Jari's going to hopefully move him on, but there's a guy down the Nailers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
No, maybe I got that.
No, you're right.
He's on a winning streak like no other. Like, there's a chance we might be able to get him up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's very hard to, because I mean you're jumping. You're jumping. That's a hell of a leap from the Nailers and the ECHL to the NHL.
Right. Without even spending any time in the AHL.
In the AHL, yeah. So I mean that's kind of a
That'd be a meteoric rise.
Right.
Well, he can't do any worse than Jari. I know you like Jari a lot, Billy, but he can't do any worse than him.
I love when you tell him that.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I don't know what they do. And then they don't have many kids. They have draft picks, but you have to hit on them.
Well, they have a ton of draft picks. Yes. I mean, God,
you got to hit on them.
Yeah. No, I agree. You got to hit on them. Yeah.
What's their biggest need then? Would you say it's the defense or a winger?
I mean, they both. I mean, they need more scoring depth. They need, I mean, there's a lot that this team needs.
I mean, they have to shed some of these contracts. You cannot bring back Malkin. You cannot bring back Letang. You cannot bring back Carlson. I mean, if I'm Sidney Crosby, what's up?
Well, Sid might be for those guys coming back. That might be part of the problem here. I think he's a little too superstitious with some of that stuff.
Well, they were on the stage with him last night, and it's I don't know.
It's the true definition of insanity if they do that. I mean, the only person who has the ability to come back is Crosby. The other ones, you just come on, seriously.
On a bright on a bright note, I do like this guy, Rutger McGroarty. I really like
Yeah,
him.
he hustles. He looked
I
good.
like him. Now he's sidelined. He's going to miss the final. You got 5 Penguins forwards right now that are going to miss the 3 remaining games. Noah Chari, Blake Lizotte, Rutger McGroarty, Tommy Novak, and Matt Nieto. They're going to miss the final 3 games. Rutger McGroarty, I really like the guy.
What about Malkin? Is he injured still?
No, he's back.
IR lower body. That's what I'm reading. Huh.
Yeah, well, he was back in the last game.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
But yeah,
their depth in the AHL is not very good. That's the other problem.
Yeah.
Well, either way, there's a bright spot.
All
I think we should advance it as far as we can.
Yeah. Another sad news to pass on. Ray Shero passed away. The orchestrator of that 2009 Stanley Cup team of the Penguins passed away at age 62. Come as the shock to the hockey world. I know they were talking to Josh Yohe, which I see Josh Yohe down at the arena a lot, and they were saying that nobody really knew that he was even sick. It was he kind of kept it quiet, and still really don't know what he died from. I haven't heard what he died from, but 62 years old, very young, and very, very sad news. He was a good one, to say the least. So, but
it's kind of wild. Too many people dying.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Pirates. A lot of controversy with this team right now. A lot of and not the a lot of press coming out, national press, and not the kind of press that you want. Where to begin? Well, let's begin with this Roberto Clemente thing. Now, I guess they have those of you who don't know, I worked down there as well. I worked down there on last Sunday, in that final game with the Yankees. But the whole controversy with the the corner taking out the Clemente 21 and putting the Surfside ad up. I mean, not a good look.
And then dumping all those bricks in the landfill.
And then dumping all the bricks in the landfill. These bricks that people had paid for. From what I understand, they told them that those were going to be there until future, when they tear the stadium down, those bricks would still be there. Let's start with this whole Clemente thing. Is this blown out of proportion a little bit? Because I tell you what, when you walk around PNC Park, there's more Clemente tributes than what Yankee Stadium has for Babe Ruth, and that's no joke. They were even saying that. National media was even talking about that. Is this kind of blown out of proportion, just judging by everything that's kind of accumulated, or am I a little off on that, guys?
I think when a family member of one of your icons comes and gives you a little nudge, I think it's kind of bad, right?
Well, no, you know what, Ed? I'm going to disagree with you on this.
What?
I'm going to disagree with you because I tell you what, Roberto Clemente Jr. This guy has never had a job. He has lived off his father's legacy. He is, and from what I understand, he didn't even know anything about it until fans caused an uproar with it, and then he saw it, and then right away jumped on it. Mark Madden was talking about this the other day, and he was saying about the son just needs to go away. All he does, like I said, is live off his father's legacies. The guy's never had a job. They were even saying that he has like glossies of his father, Roberto, and he signs them and sells them.
Oh, jeez.
So I mean, I don't know.
I mean, don't we have a road, a bridge, a statue?
Yeah.
That's my point. Him? That's my point, Tracy. That's my point. I'm going to kind of take an opposite stance on this and say I kind of think this is kind of a little bit overblown. I mean, okay, so you took the 21 that's been out in the outfield and you replaced it with a Surfside ad. Probably not the probably, if I were in charge of it, I would say move the Clemente thing up. You can still put the ad below it. Taking it all out together, the optics of that probably wasn't good. Judging by everything else that has happened, judging by Bob Nutting's comments, and by the way, credit to Robbie King. He went right for the jugular when he asked when he asked Bob Nutting about the offseason.
What did Nutting? Oh yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, and I mean Nutting said he did everything in his power.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. Just absolute ridiculousness. This guy, this guy is just unbelievable. He is unbelievable. How this guy can stand up there and say these things with a straight face is just unbelievable to me.
He's delusional.
Just unbelievable. Has done everything in his power.
Well, how does anybody investing with anything he does take his word then?
That's what I'm saying. That was my point earlier.
Good question.
He's a successful person, right? How does he get people? You're exactly right, Trace. How does he get people to invest in any of his other businesses when all I have to do is look at the Pirates and he does nothing? I totally agree with you. That's my point.
It's not that he does nothing. He can do nothing, but he says he's doing everything he can,
right.
And it's blatantly obvious that's a lie.
Right.
Yeah. It's ridiculousness is what it comes down to. Just absolute ridiculousness. And, I mean, I think this whole thing, there's a culmination of a bunch of things that have happened. The whole brick thing, the Roberto Clemente thing, the comments by Bob Nutting. Last night, when Skeens come out, they were chanting at the big night out. They were chanting, sell the team. They were chanting it at the home opener, sell the team. They've been chanting it at every home game, sell the team. Bob Nutting on opening day walked the rotunda. He actually had the balls to walk the rotunda, and the fans were giving it to him out there. Sell the team, Bob. You had one guy that literally went up to him and said, "Hey, Bob, how you doing? Sell the team. You ever going to sell the team?" I mean, it's crazy, Well,
maybe he's delusional, like Eddie said, because having Nebraska Honeys to walk around, you got to be delusional because that means he has no fear.
And when Skeens took the mound, there were dozens of people there. It was completely embarrassing. And Skeens doesn't like that. You go to any other town with a pitcher like that, go to Boston, go to LA, go to St. Louis, go to Chicago, Atlanta, Philadelphia. They're big boys on the mound. They're going to show up. There was dozens of people there. It was ridiculous how few people were there.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to just that was a bad outing by Skeens. I mean, let's not
right, but where's he getting his? I mean,
career high of he gave up 5 runs.
Yeah.
So
it's human. He'll be all right.
It's going to happen. Where's the crowd to cheer him on? The place was dead. I mean, there was no. You come out, it's like pitching a simulation game.
Yeah.
They'd be better off with COVID and pumping in the sound.
Yesterday, it went to 13 innings. They did get the win. They did.
Is that a catcher did that, Billy?
It is.
Yeah. That's Joey Bart. Joey Bart with the walk-off yesterday. Yeah. And I like that guy. I tell you what, I really like what he's doing.
I like him and Endy. And
what was going on with Endy? How did they collide? I mean, that was extremely I don't know, Endy. Have a little bit more awareness of what the hell's going on here. That looked like that definitely could have been avoided. Bart was just standing there, and thank God Key Brian Hayes has the presence of mind to pick the ball up and tag the guy. That was like Keystone Cop stuff. I mean, that was just wow. That was very But Andy, what was he looking at there? I mean, he was like I mean, he collided with Bart. It wasn't the other way around.
Oh, it's inexperience to position, right? He's a catcher by trade.
Yeah, if you say so.
Well, he beat out Henry Davis catching.
Where is Henry Davis? Is he in witness protection still? Is he still in the witness protection program?
I think he is. Yeah.
That dude's a hell of an athlete. How stupid are they? How can you take a dude as a stud as an athlete, put him at DH? Good Lord. Tell McCutcheon to go. Go tell him to go find the bricks or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kutch went yard a couple times. Henry had trouble.
Yeah. You got to put Henry in there for a long period of time.
Put him in for pretty long last year, Eddie.
Yeah, I'd take him over. Come on.
I would shorten his swing, make it a little bit more compact, but he makes contact with the ball.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to have a pitching coach or a hitting coach.
Yeah.
Well, no, they got that great hitting coach. What was the name they just hired?
Roberto Clemente Jr.
Who we get him to sign some autographs?
Yeah. And and I'm going to say one thing, I've been hard on Derek Shelton. I've been hard on him. And here's, I'm going to say this right now. I don't have anything personal against the guy. I don't.
No.
I know I've come off like, I've called him an idiot manager. I've said things. I will say one thing about him, though. When you look at his resume, I've never seen a guy who I call it he's failed upwards, if you know what I mean.
That's an awesome description.
If you could fail upwards, that's
did,
how,
right.
You just retired from an organization that seems to have a lot of people who fail upwards, just so you know.
You're very right on that.
And because they're not the best and the brightest, they're the only ones that make the cut because they have nowhere else to go.
Right.
Last night at 1:30 in the morning, driving home from the arena, I was going through the tunnel, and I said, I was thinking of things for the show tonight, and I said, what's the best way to categorize? What's the best way to explain the way I feel about Derek Shelton as a manager, and what I think about him, and I'm just thinking to myself, when you look at what he was as a hitting coach, left a lot to be desired as a hitting coach. As a bench coach, I mean, you just got to be basically, you basically got to put a uniform on and breathe in and out to be a bench coach, right? I mean, but I mean, when you
do?
Very good question, Ed. But when you look at it, this guy has no resume. He really, prior to getting hired by the Pirates, he wasn't. He didn't play big. He wasn't like high A ball or anything like that. Didn't play in the majors. Was
Did
a
he sell
minor league
tires?
guy. He may have sold some tires, maybe.
Did he bag groceries? How big are his hands?
But no, my point is this guy. When you look at his resume, both as a player and a coach, bench coach and hitting coach. Like I said, he failed upwards. He really did. He failed upwards. And no, I don't have any personal, I don't have any, it's nothing personal with him. I just think he's very underqualified to be a manager in Major League Baseball, like very underqualified. Probably one of the most underqualified guys that I've seen in that position ever in my time, but to his defense, he doesn't have a lot to work with. He doesn't have a lot to work with in his defense. But on the flip side of that, if he did have a lot to work with, I still don't think that he would be better. I think he's vastly underqualified to be a manager in Major League Baseball. That's the way I feel.
You think it's designed that way, though?
I do. I think it is designed that way. Absolutely.
No, only because he can have a perpetual excuse throughout the entire time of owning him. Well, I heard
because perpetual bigness is equivalent to perpetual smallness.
Correct. Yep. And that's that's what you're that's what you got with this organization. So off day today.
Revenge of the Nerds, Eddie.
I know. I remember it.
Off day today, they got a weekend series with Cincinnati, and then they're coming back home. Got a 4-game series with Washington, and then you got Cleveland coming in on the weekend, and then they go on another West Coast road trip with the Angels and the Dodgers. So
Angels and Dodgers.
But yeah, I mean, not a good look for the Pirates. And like I said, they brought this on themselves. I mean, let's not. You know who I feel bad for? I tell you who I feel bad for. I feel bad for the media that has to cover this team. I feel bad for the people. Like I feel bad for the guys like Dan Zangrilli who have to do the post game
I feel
show.
bad for the people who have to work down there every day and deal with this. Like the dozens of people yelling at them, like this is a bad product, and then there's people there working. Like you think about those sorry people.
Yeah,
Dozens of people.
yeah. But no, I mean, like I that's the guy
League
like
of their own.
Dan Zangrilli who does a post game show. I mean, this guy has to keep a positive, he has to keep a positive like outlook on this team. He has to. It's his job, and,
Right.
and I mean, behind the scenes, he got to be like, oh my god, this team's horrible. Like this team's like, I'm just saying, it has to be a tough job. It has to be that would have to be a very tough job, knowing that a team is bad, knowing that a team is not going to get any better, and unless you sell the team and you get an owner that wants to spend money, and having to keep a positive light all the time, that would just be, I don't know, it'd be a little exhausting for me, I think. All right, let's switch to Pitt. Pitt got a blue and gold game this Saturday.
1 p.m.
Headlines: Cade Bell looks for perfect balance on offense while developing his 4 quarterbacks. We'll see how it goes. Next week, I guess we'll have a little bit of a reaction on what we saw. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear Narduzzi saying what did he say last year, Ed, that we said was kind of damning. I forget what it was
About those fans.
He said something about what was it? It was something about he criticized both offense and defense.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's it. You're like, that's a and then like
Yeah, he did. He did it somehow, but he ended up criticizing, saying both sides were terrible.
I forget how it was worded, but it was basically saying that
can't trust the offense, can't trust the defense.
Yeah, it was something like that, and you're like,
yeah, it was very very odd.
Oh god, that's a definite indictment when it's an inter squad blue and gold scrimmage.
What do you think about the execution of the offense and defense? I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Retiring Chip Beat reporter Jerry DePaula is gonna retire. Pitt football is gonna honor him. Jerry's been good. I mean, that guy has he's been covering Pitt for a while, but covering a lot of stuff, covering the Steelers. Jerry's been really a long-time staple in Pittsburgh media. We're gonna miss him. He's like his stuff. Jalen Lowe leaves, entered the portal, left, and came out of the other side.
My old Kentucky home.
Yep, gonna be a Kentucky Wildcat. What do you think about that?
Pitt doesn't have any money, dude. They have nothing.
Well, I tell you what, Jalen Lowe didn't have a good year last year, so good riddance, in my opinion.
Well, he's gonna get down there with better coaching. Mark Pope.
Yeah.
Well,
that's true. Yeah.
It's gonna light it up and probably be a good move for him. I mean, we have yet to see what Pitt has in NIL with this guy who left Nebraska for some reason, and I have no idea why.
He didn't like it there. Maybe he doesn't like corn.
They have tens of millions of dollars though for some reason in NIL.
Pitt picked up that center too from Iowa State, Deshaun Jackson. They got him, and he gave him a commitment. This year, I'm looking when it comes to Pitt football. I want to see what this Cam Lindsey does from Aliquippa. So,
yeah, and the other kid, the left-handed quarterback, see if he gets any time.
Yeah. All right, let's close it out. Riverhounds got a big matchup this weekend against Charleston Battery. Ed and I will be covering it. We won't be down there, but we'll be writing a story. So look for it on Stream Punk Entertainment. We'll be posting that as soon as the game's over. What do you think? What's your thoughts about Charleston Battery?
1 point separates the two of them. Charleston is.
I was going to say. Yeah, they're not as good as what this should be. This could be a game that they could win. When we interviewed Coach Lilly last game, he even alluded to that they're not as good a team, and that they this could be.
We're looking to get one of them sneaky Pete wins, huh?
Sneaky Pete, baby, getting from behind. I think.
Yeah, I mean they are looking better, and they are playing better.
They just, I mean, they have no way to
uh,
judge the speed of Augie up front. They have no idea how to do that yet. And they're still learning from that.
Right.
Maybe in this off week they had some practice time. I'd have them do long balls all day. We'll see if they come out. They got to learn how to start fast and finish strong.
Well, and I don't mean to but I was a little shocked when I asked Bob Lilly about two clean sheets from your goalkeeper.
Who's the reigning Gold Glove winner?
Yeah, who's the reigning Golden Glove winner last year. You've had two clean sheets from him, and he. I expected him to agree with me and kind of elaborate on how I basically told him hey what do you like about him being your last line of defense, and he basically said, hey, I need more consistency out of him, and was a little bit I don't know, Ed, what would you say? You were sitting right next to me. It was a little bit
shitty.
I really he kind of
4 games, 3 goals given up. That's not horrible.
Right, and he kind of he said we need more consistency out of him, which I was a little bit taken back by that. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean they're a younger team. They
okay.
The problem with the Riverhounds right now is, my God, are they small?
Right,
they are
a
tiny team.
Yeah, compared to, I mean, we're in the press box. We see the press release, and we see all the stats of the other teams, and we compare them each game because God, we got an hour and a half before kickoff, so we do.
They represent a Lollipop Guild, or are they like 5'6", 5'7" short? What are we talking?
Just above the Lollipop Guild, 5'6", 5'7". Yeah. I mean, truly, it is a tiny team, and they did well. I really expected last game for them to just fall apart, but they didn't. They got lucky.
Yeah.
They hustled, and it was a good game.
So we'll see what they can do. We'll have a write-up. Like I said, look for that, folks. We'll be writing that up. Pittsburgh Passion. Trace, I know you're the beat guy on that. Let's hear it.
So they had a whole bunch of All-Americans, man. They actually had a pretty decent team. They're basically in second place last year. I think 3 weeks here, we got a game coming up. I think they have 6 total. It's looking pretty good for second place again, but their quarterback is the game changer for them once again. She moves that ball around. I haven't seen anything in their practices yet this year, but I do know, like I said, 3 weeks they're getting ready to go, and it's going to be a total of 6 games that I saw on their schedule.
And they play.
So I'm guessing they're.
Is it DC? They're playing first, Divas.
Where do they play their home games? Is it still at West A, or is it?
That yeah, exactly where they were. That
we'll get you some credentials to go cover it.
That'd be awesome, man. They're fun games.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, them pads pop, man.
Get you to interview some players. Why not?
Yeah.
Be awesome.
Hey, more power to them, girls. I'm happy to see it. It's good stuff. So, but so I take it they're probably going to be in camp here soon then.
Yes.
If not already.
They got to be looming on it right now. Their website doesn't really offer too much. I was actually really excited whenever I seen they were offering some of their info on their All-Americans.
I would figure it doesn't cost that much money to maintain a website. I would figure that would be robust, wouldn't you?
Well, considering when I looked up last year, to see what their scores were, they had scores posted from like 2 years ago. It hadn't been updated. I'm like, really, guys? Like, you're not going to update stuff, on this, like, I don't know. What did the statistician die and you just didn't replace him or her?
You got to have somebody on the team that can just.
Well, they're just waiting for the contract to come through. It takes a couple years,
It says on their website 22 days until game day.
Right. What did I say?
He said 3 weeks. Bam. He nailed it.
Something like 21 days or something. You got it wrong.
So their quarterback, if you got her site up, what's her name? She was highlighted.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that.
I'm not seeing her as good as the first quarterback they had.
It's been a while since I've been on their website, but I gotta say, like, it left a lot to be. It looked like a 5-year-old did it.
Wow.
Like they had.
That's just the website. The girls are still good.
It was like it's like 2024, and I'm looking for scores, and it's like the last score we got was from August of 2022. Okay.
Are you talking about Marcelina Chavez, the quarterback?
I believe that's it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, this is an interesting photo shoot here. I'm not quite sure that these all were born Female, but I don't know.
Say that again. You kind of said that under your breath.
I did.
Let me hear that again.
I would leave it there, Eddie.
Yeah, there's a few.
No,
of them.
leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there. We don't want to get.
Then we got to see what's up with Bart. See if she comes back. Ed, remember her? Man,
Yeah, she was a very good player and big too. So
well, you can't teach the size. Yeah,
you cannot. They have a defensive back named Rebecca Ergood, who looks like she's from Ireland, and only a couple there.
She may have a Gaelic football background there.
Yeah, third
I'm
season.
wiredy.
I'm worry. Say it. Say it. Worry. Worry. Say it. Whatever.
The leg.
The leg. Is he in shape? The Scottish standards. Rebecca is from. She's from Lebanon, PA. Maybe she's Amish.
Amish.
Here's what she does for a living. She works as a software developer. Can't she update the thing?
Yeah, maybe.
She graduated from Pitt.
You would think.
Irish. Wiry. And the only thing I can say about our offensive weapon is he's wiry. Just come on, say it again. Wiry. Or whatever.
All right, guys. Good stuff tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks
Sorry
everybody
about
for
late.
tuning in.
See you later.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Hey, maybe we'll know something by next week with this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Don't hold your breath, but wishful thinking on my part. But like I said, I hope that it comes to fruition here. Either way, I just want it to be over. So that's
Either
just
way
me.
we want fruition.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Have some. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will talk to you next week.